When you look at some of the methodology when it comes to personal finance, it dates back an incredible amount of time when using an all cash system worked incredibly well. And the old saying goes, if it is not broke, don't fix it, because it has been tried and true. Today, we're going to be looking at some old fashioned tips that still work today when you look at finances itself. Number one, always track your expenses. Now, we know Dave Ramsey is notorious for saying this, guys, and it really is tried and true. Even if you do it for a short term, you know exactly how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, and that is a game changer, guys. For a majority of people, if you can visualize the money that is going out for the bills, it makes a big difference. You might call it a budget, you might call it a life spending plan, you might call it a savings repayment plan, whatever you want to name it, guys. The traditional budget still does work and does work incredibly well. Now, with the advancements that we see with technology, makes it super easy to continue on that budget, taking it fully online and digital. Now, I know a lot of people do like to track it with the old pencil and paper, which I do as well, guys, because I feel like when I'm tracking it with a actual pencil and paper and writing it down, it goes into my memory bank into a different place, then going through an application, entering in a couple numbers, and then exiting out of that application. When it's actually written down, you can see it on paper and you know where the money is going. You can visually see where you're spending too much. You can visually see where you can actually cut back. Now, over the past couple of years, we know interest rates have risen dramatically, which means things that you might have bought, 2 years ago, today could be much more expensive. And you would never realize that if you were not breaking it down with the different budgets or the different kind of the categories within the budget and seeing exactly where the money is going. For a majority of people, guys, rent has went up, expenses have went up when it comes to food. We know insurance here in Michigan is going up roughly 30%, which for a majority of people, guys, is a really big increase. Number two, we get into the envelope budgeting method. So again, another budgeting method, and this is the cash budgeting method. This is a really cool way for those people to build the discipline that they need to really budget. So if your rent is $1,200, taking out $1,200, putting it into an envelope might mean $600 out of each paycheck. But when you look at groceries, when you look at car insurance, utilities, food, entertainment, everything goes into its own envelope. You can actually buy these envelope systems, or you can actually just use envelopes yourself that do work incredibly well when it comes to budgeting this way. So essentially what happens with this, guys, is if you have a food budget, if you have an entertainment budget, or etc., whatever it may be, guys, when the money is gone from that envelope, that is it. You are done, guys. That is the only amount that you have. Now, this, of course, is going to be predetermined. This could also change kind of month to month. As we get into the colder months, energy bills are a lot higher. When you start getting into the summer months, you could see energy bills, or you could see gas bills that are much higher. Now, this is really effective because you're not using credit cards and you're not using debit cards. It gets rid of fees. It gets rid of the overdraft fees. It gets rid of the overspending, which is kind of crazy to think too, is if you're using a debit card versus a credit card. Credit card users spend roughly 20% more than debit card users, period. That is a known fact, guys. They've done a lot of studies. They've done a lot of research. Individuals that use credit cards as their primary means of payment use and spend more money than people that use debit cards. Now, debit cards, I feel, have a tie to kind of the realistic aspect of how much money you actually have in your checking account. And I also feel like when it comes to a debit card, a lot more people are more likely to track and pay attention to what they spend because they have to remain and they have to know the balances that they do have in their checking account. That way they don't overdraft it. That way they can't overspend with it, making a really big difference, guys. Number three, instead of replacing items, do your best to fix them. Now, this is kind of crazy to think is, does the item need to be replaced or can the item be repaired? This is kind of a double-edged sword somewhat because you don't want to put time and money into repairing something that essentially is just going to break down again, or you're going to have to replace in a little bit. This, of course, there are a lot of things that the DIY or the do-it-yourself can really take care of and make sure that you can do it yourself. There are an incredible amount of places, even locally, guys. We have, we have Tile and Stone, we have Home Depot, we have Lowe's. They all offer free DIY. So doing it yourself projects and seminars and a lot of training that is hands-on. They actually provide the material, but you can go there and you can get the experience and you can learn to do things yourself. That way you can make sure that you're doing it right. And also looking at this, guys, if you're looking to replace items, do you have to buy brand new items, or is there an option to actually get, Facebook Marketplace or using a secondhand store to get something? Not only that, is a lot of places do lend tools to fix broken items. If you need specific tools, a lot of places, one, rent the tools, or two, there's actually a lot of places that you can borrow the tools that are very easy for simple repairs that you can take care of yourself. Now, with that, guys, goes YouTube. I know a lot of things that I've repaired, including my lawnmower, my snowblower, and a couple other things just around the house that I was able to repair or replace just by utilizing YouTube, guys, making it work incredibly well. And a big shout out to all of the YouTubers out there that have the tips and tricks and also repair videos. I even repaired my Bowflex machine downstairs with a YouTube video, figuring out exactly what was wrong with it. Number 4, taking care of what you have. Now, this is one of the biggest things, guys. When you do maintenance on your things, when you keep them clean, when you store them properly, you're going to be able to extend the longevity of what you do have. Now, I know some things are saying, hey, they should last 3 to 5 years. We have things that are actually 10 years plus, which again, 3 to 5 years was the shelf life of what people are thinking. But through the maintenance, through the repair work, making sure that you're taking care of the things you have. And this goes back to kind of fundamentals, guys. Now, years ago when I was in the service, giving people things in third world countries, which some of you might be watching from, seeing them take the things and have no care for it, have no heart for it, even stealing the things that we were offering them, to me was eye-opening. Even seeing a couple different places where we did a lot of repair work. We've also done a lot with Habitat for Humanity, which is a local free repair service for houses. So we actually do home improvement projects. But the people that we did a lot of the projects for didn't take care of what they have. And now it is in disrepair, even worse than it was before. Even though we offered the free repair services that were offered through a voluntary effort, they didn't care about what they had, and they didn't take care of what they had, which again, you really cannot teach that, guys. It is something that is kind of innate in a lot of us. I know a lot of us do pick that up from our parents, but overall, guys, taking care of what you have. If you're spending money to buy an item, make sure you're maintaining it. They give you maintenance instructions, reading through the book, even to see how you should store it, how you should maintain it, and how it should be taken care of. And the final one, guys, be patient. Think through your purchases. This is one of the absolute huge things, guys. When you look at impulse purchases, $2,000 to $3,000 a year is spent in complete impulse purchases. When you have a larger purchase, and you can kind of tag this into whatever you want it to be, if it's $100, if it's $500, regardless of what it is, really, when you want to make a purchase, wait 24 to 48 hours, see if that purchase really does make sense, see what the utility for that is going to be. Now, for me personally, guys, I want to go ahead and spend a little more money for the quality versus the quantity. So when it comes to a lot of different things, it's important that there is a very high quality standard, and I'm willing to personally pay for that a little bit more if the quality is there. If it's an item that I have to buy once every 10 years, versus buying 10 of them over 10 years, I will absolutely take the one over 10 years and maintain it because I know it is mine, and I know it is really needs to be maintained because I put my money into it. And money for me equates to time. How much time and effort do I have to put in my job or on YouTube making videos to actually purchase the item that I have, which is a great way to put it in perspective, guys. So even though these 5 old-fashioned tips really do work, and they've really stood the test of time, even looking at the envelope stuffing method, this is going back to gaining popularity on TikTok, a relatively new platform in the last couple of years, but a lot of people have seen the great benefits financially when they're going to an all cash method, and knowing that these tips, even though they are much, much older, I mean, I remember the envelope system from probably 25, 30 years ago, when people used to do this and set out envelopes specifically with how much money they had as a budgeting method. So guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the tips. And as always, thank you guys for watching.